What's good, everyone? It's your boy Siffy G, the Esoteric Warrior. I hope everyone's doing good today. How about that? I've been going off on this clips lately, haven't I? Alright, so today I had a question about conditioning the hands. I'm going to come at this tonight from two different angles. The pros and cons, using wraps and gloves for bag work versus no gloves. Boxers, kickboxers, most sport fighting uses some type of hand protection except for bare knuckle boxing, but they still use some type of wrapping around the wrist to keep that stable, and around the back of the metacarpals and so forth. If you have trained with me, or any of my students will know, the first thing that you learn is conditioning, and loads of it. That is more important than forms, because you're still getting training in by hitting bags of rocks, and you're still doing the work. Forms do not make a fighter. Let's just put that out there. Forms are fun. Forms are a type of relaxation or a dance. I like to call it a dance routine, because you can get a good dancer and good pop and lock-in dancer, and they'll be able to show ging better than most people out there and move with grace. I actually saw a Shaolin monk versus a break dancer, and the Shaolin monk was doing all these moves, and the break dancer then just did exactly the same, if not better, and he's never trained. Think about that, right? So forms don't mean shit to me. What matters is your fighting ability when it comes and when it's needed. So the bones in the hand, you got 27 bones in the human hand. You got 14 phalanges, 5 metacarpal bones, which is in the palm, and then the bottom of the palm you got 8 carpal bones that attach to the wrist. Any of them can be injured when striking hard objects. Like me, when I've started Hapkido as a kid, it was all about breaking boards, and I saw some horrendous injuries from black belts breaking 4 boards, and he broke both fucking hands, his knuckles, trying to break the boards for his grading. There was no conditioning except for bag work, but it wasn't like in Chinese Kung Fu, all the iron skills. So I'm blessed to start the Yokomun and straight to the iron palm and fist. If you've learnt from me, you know that, like I said, straight from the bat, all you're doing is conditioning for the first month, usually. Hitting rock bags, also softer bags such as rice. I like rice to start people off because it forms to their fist or their hand better. I don't agree so much with steel ball bearings, because you can only go so far with that. You can't do full power on steel ball bearings, and I'd rather be able to go full power when I need to. And if you do go full power on steel ball bearings, I guarantee you'll be doing maybe 10 reps max before your hands are, and I mean full power. I'm not talking about doing fucking iron palms, slapping it at waist high. To me, that is the most basic shit, and it's not iron skills, slapping at your waist height. You got to get real here, people. Put the bag up and punch it as if you're punching a face or a body. No one fights slapping down like that. So, the pros and cons. When doing iron palm and fist, like in the styles I teach, it's a rock bag. And you start off slow, and the power builds and your confidence builds, the harden of the bones and your striking ability and precision and correct technique, you will do more good for your hands than just throwing your palm, slapping it, doing 5 strikes, slap, chap, blap, blap, blap. That is so wrong. Kill him, Bruce. But the pros and cons of boxing, they use wraps. Boxing also outside of the ring, some boxers have broken their knuckles. Hey, we're all going to fucking break something with punching someone in the head anyway, right? Unless you get a nice clean shot on the chin. But when someone as good as you, and they know how to cover and use their head and their elbows, if you punch an elbow, so people that have never fought and talk shit and just fucking do forms, have never gone in the ring and never been in a competition, they're in for a fucking big surprise when it comes to the street. So I wrap the hands when I'm doing heavy bag after I've done the rock bag, but I hit the heavy bag as far as I can until I feel that I need to put the wraps on. For sparring, I wear gloves because I don't want to fucking cut my partner up or injure my own hands. We want to prolong our training, right? And the most of all, tit da jiao. You got to have a strong tit da jiao. I'm not talking about the generic stuff you buy over the counter. I'm talking about real kung fu tit da jiao. So when you train kung fu, train without any wraps until you feel that, I want to do more training, but shit, they're getting a bit red, and you don't want to be taking skin off your knuckles. Hitting a heavy bag wrong and bad technique can rip the skin off your knuckles, then you can't use the tit da, right? You're going to have to pack it, some tin chut, mash up some ginger, right, and pack it, and that's got antibiotic type of effects for the healing. At one stage, one of the Australian boxers, Anthony Mundine, I was asked to heal his hands before a fight. He had some, ulcers from punching all the skin come off, and I had to pack those holes up to get him so the skin is healed before his fight. True story. Professional boxer, and I gave him some tit da to use. So using the wraps it's good, the pros of course, but it can also weaken your fist when it comes to the street. Breaking your just say the metacarpal bone during a fight in boxing. A lot of boxers break their metacarpal bones, but that wrapping keeps it in place, right? So it protects it somewhat until they go to hospital. But the problem is with the boxing, if they actually added iron skills like the old days, bare knuckle, they'd be punching things with no gloves on. At the same time, you want to strengthen your muscles in your hands, finger press ups for the tendons in your hands as well to make them nice and strong. You want to build up your wrist and forearm muscles to keep that wrist stable on impact. There's a lot that goes into conditioning. It's not just slapping away and punching something, right? For a good strong punch, you got to develop those arms, right? That bridge, especially in Kung Fu. You've got all the forearm conditioning, fist conditioning, palm conditioning, finger conditioning. List goes on. Do I feel that it's wrong to use wrapping just to do conditioning. If you got an injury, why not? Right? Why not? But try to do it without. Start slow, build up your power, build up everything correctly, timing, distance. And as you get better and better, you'll get stronger and stronger. And it will change the structure of your hand and how you punch, because a lot of people punch in the street and they're flailing, and that's how you're going to break bones. Even the bare knuckle boxers, they have to pick their shots. If you just connect an elbow, you're going to break your hand, and then you're fucked when it comes to reality. You got a broken hand, that's one less weapon, right? So it's important to train correctly, use Tita medicine, massage, bodybuilding for the correct muscles, tendons, and all that goes with it. Tita medicine, like I said, is always king. Massage, a bit of qigong, get those fingers moving, do some hard qigong, close and open those fingers, rotate that wrist, stretch your wrist and forearm muscles as well. You want to look after your weapons, because that's what we're going to be using if we need to fight. Hopefully we'll never need to fight, but sooner or later you may need it, and it's better to be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in war. I hope that helps answer your question. I believe for sparring, you've got to wear gloves, right? Unless you've got the full helmet on. Now a helmet as well. A lot of people say, it's a false sense of security. Not if you're a professional boxer. You're going to get hit anyway, right? And you don't wear a fucking helmet and go, I'm going to get hit now so I can... Why? You don't wear a helmet and go, well, if I get hit, I get hit, and it's going to protect me. There's been studies with helmets. The shock can go through and rattle the brain. You get that CTE a little bit quicker. But it all depends on how hard you're sparring, especially a beginner. Some people are head shy. That helmet does help, right? And of course, if you're looking at safety issues and it's a control to say it's semi-contact, you got no problem with CTE, right? It's better than not getting cut and broken noses, broken jaws, right? So being a hero, I don't have to wear a helmet, is a load of shit. If you can't fight, you better fucking put a helmet on, retards, right? And that will get you started into training how to fight. Sure, you're not standing there copping. You're not putting a helmet on just to cop hits, right? It's for the protection of your face, your nose, your jaw, right? So yes and no, right? You look at the Olympics. Some of them wear helmets as well. So it all depends on the fighter. Good head movement, good footwork. You may never get hit in the face that much with a helmet. So wearing a helmet isn't a false sense of security. Only for the dickheads that don't know how to move their head, right? But it helps prepare someone to get into sparring, and even professional boxers getting ready to fight wear them because they don't want to get cut up during sparring, and therefore they may not get to fight. Just like shin pads and so forth. It's important to train smartly, correctly, and safely. The pros and cons in everything. So I hope that helps. Look after your hands and fucking train them to become a beast. Be able to hit hard and perfectly, because when you got no wraps on, you got to learn how to strike correctly. Alright, hope that answers your question. Wraps or no wraps, headgear or no headgear, it's up to the individual. You're not wearing headgear to fucking cop punches. It's only for safety. It's not just a sense of security, right? It's nothing like that. But professional boxers wouldn't be wearing them if that's the case. Idiots. All right. Till next time. Ciao.